Welcome back to Franchise Hockey Manager 12 with the Boston Bruins rebuild. As we approach the trade deadline, we are currently in the bottom of the division, which is exactly where we want to be at this point in time. Team that's leading it, unfortunately, is the team that we end up having their first round pick. Toronto Maple Leafs currently leading the division and pretty close to leading the league as well. They're at the top, and we are at the bottom. This is exactly how we want to start off, although it doesn't look too bad for our goals for and goals against. Minus 33 is not terrible when you end up factoring everyone else. Minus 43, Jesus. Minus 46 as well. I'm surprised that Utah's all the way at the bottom. Kraken, I didn't think they were as bad. And then I guess Tampa ended up doing a little bit better than what I thought. But we'll look at our roster and some of the transactions that we ended up doing. First off, we managed to get rid of Arvidsson for a third-round pick. We just kind of shopped that, and unfortunately, we weren't really able to get too much for anyone. We did get rid of Korpisalo for a fifth-round pick as well, and then Tanner Janet as well for a fifth. Obviously, he looks pretty good here. It's not doing too great for the Rangers, so that fifth-round pick isn't necessarily going to be anything, but it's slowly trying to get a little bit off our books. We'll look at our depth chart here. Hagen's still leading the way as our top prospect. Caleb Denayer was injured for most of the offseason, or most of the regular season, for the QMJHL. He's managed to play 19 games, getting 17 points. Lindbohm still top four, and William Moore there as well. Roger McQueen and Cole Hudson still there. Quentin Muncie getting a little bit better to 2.5 stars. He's actually grading around a 67, which is pretty good. 15 minutes of ice time and change, so not too bad. Henry Muse also looks like he's going to be kind of decent. 1.5 star already, so it does look like he's starting to at least improve a little bit. If we can get him at 3.5 stars, that'll be fantastic for us. But looking at current abilities, though, still the top three there that we end up having. Top four, actually. Zacha, if we can get rid of this year, we'll definitely do that. But we'll look at how will everyone end up faring as well. Pasternak ends up having 49 points in 53 games. Lindholm with 37. Geeky now dropping hugely down to 29. But all in all, not too bad. He is 27, so I do kind of want to part ways with him if I have to. I just think that we can have a lot of younger players coming up through the roster. Zacha as well with only 27. How many minutes does he average? He averages around 18-21. That does not seem that great. So we'll look at the grade as well to kind of compare, because obviously those are the two important things. Yeah, if we can put Matthew Poitras at one of the top lines, that'd be fantastic for us. He is only averaging around 11 minutes, but we'll look at the grades here. Lindholm and, Pasternak's obviously the best, and then anything under 70 I'd say is okay, but not the greatest. Anything below 65, I'd say, is something that we kind of need to address, and most of our team is under 65. So we'll have to kind of look at that a little bit, obviously, as the series goes. Lindbohm, 873 save percentage is pretty god-awful. 899 isn't that much better either. Swayman, 16 wins, 19 losses, and 6 overtime losses. Keep in mind, we are trying to lose, so obviously we're not going to do anything to kind of fabricate anything. We're going to try and be as legit as possible. We're just going to try and make this team as bad as possible, just to be able to get picks and be able to kind of wheel and deal and rebuild this franchise. So we did try and get rid of our first round pick, and this is what they end up offering us. Absolutely garbage. I don't even know how the offer trade would even do this, but that's where we stand right now. So look at teams like, let's look at teams that are more on the cusp and see if we can actually wheel and deal some trades. Now, I don't necessarily think that we can, but we'll have to try our best. Blue Jackets, if they have a pick, we'll go for it. So we'll try and trade them. What are their trade needs? They need goalie and a center. Now, Lindbohm, I would part ways with, but we do need a backup. And I'm looking at the wrong thing now. So they need a center as well. We have a couple centers. Zacha could be one of those if he is willing to go. No, he's not. Lindholm, he's also not. Like I said, I wish there was I said this probably last year. I wish there's a way that you could actually kind of wheel and deal them a little bit and kind of offer them something if they're willing to go. So we'll offer Geeky for first. That's not going to do it. Let's see if we can kind of swap ours as well. So just something that's a little bit earlier. They won't do that. I don't want to add that much. They can't add that much. Okay, let's go 50. We'll find ways to make that work. They still can't. How can you not? Let's look at some of their players with heavy payroll. Obviously, their better players are... I mean, Voronkov I like. I think they'll probably accept this offer. We want more out of this then. If we can get a... Can we get a first rounder next year? Ooh, okay. So I think we got them here. I think that if we just kind of sweeten the pot for next year, let's see, six and a... No, I don't want to give up a fourth. Let's give up a fourth the year after. Well-balanced offer means they won't do it. Yeah. All right, let's give up rights here. They need a goalie. We do not have a goalie in the works here, but maybe they want another center. I would get rid of Chandler here. Let's see, Spicer. I know it's going to be... Oh. All right. We will take that all day long. So we end up getting Columbus's first rounder this year and next year. So that's still way better than having Toronto's. And now let's actually look at yeah, it looks like Columbus couldn't make it though. So that could be a terrible trade, but at least it moves the center like what we wanted to. We can kind of look at our depth chart here. Now Hoggins is the third best. Poitras is the fourth, but currently third best on our roster. And then Desnoyers could technically start next season as well. I don't know if we necessarily do that, but QMJHL, maybe we do. He doesn't look that great right now. So you could ruin him, and we still got Voronkov. Voronkov looks pretty good. We have him for 2 years for $4 million. I will take that any day of the week. I don't know why Roof D is here. Roof D is currently graded better than Musty, and I don't like that. So we still need probably a goalie in depth at some point. If we can trade for prospects, that'd be great. All right, let's look at the... Let's go back. See if we can get another first here. Maybe a team that's close to the wild card. I mean, Ottawa and Sabres would be ideal. Let's go to the Western here. Blues would probably be the best one. If Blues have a pick or Vancouver has a pick, I don't think they do, though. They do. St. Louis has a pick. So what do they want? They need a left D, left wing, and right wing. So we'll look at our Rolodex here. Lorley, see, I would do Lindholm here. He won't go. So left D, left wing, and right wing. So we did just say that the left winger is making our other left winger look bad. So obviously we're offering way too much. I'm willing to give up other things. Edward, no. See, I don't want to give up Lorley. Andre, somehow on a no trade. Do they need right D, I think? I think I read right D. Soderstrom. That's right wing. So let's see. Right wing. Kaliev. No. Calisthetic. Patrick Brown. And we'll give up something else. Let's give up Kraken's third round pick. Yeah, they're not going to want anything from that. And then maybe Florida's second. They're not willing to move a draft pick that cheaply. You're pretty much a playoff contention team. So I'm going to have to get rid of one of the Soderstrom. I'll get rid of. Still not willing to budge. So maybe we give up a first rounder later. But see, that seems odd. You're getting a first, second, and third for your first this year. Are they on a rebuild, though? If they're on a rebuild, it makes sense. They're balanced, so yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Ottawa was the other team, and then Vancouver as well. I don't think they have a first rounder. They do. And what do they need? Right D, left wing, right wing. So pretty much the same thing. Now let's see if they're more willing. Even if I could get rid of Voronkov, I would do that. Yeah, we'll do that. I want a much better player. See, I would, but they don't want to go to you. So what is it? Lindholm? No, right D. Yeah, none of these players want to go there. Andre probably won't want to go there either. Plord, no, I just got him. Johansson. Again, let's give up a pick. If we can get 3 in the first round, that'd be fantastic. I think they'll probably accept it. So later first rounder for this. We're taking a gamble that we're not going to be trash in 2028. So, but that means I do want something back. It's a balanced offer. Let's give up something else. Yeah, we'll give up Pedersen. We would be below the cap. Is that us? Okay, let's just look for the worst player ever. Yeah. What? They want McAvoy to make this close. You gotta be kidding me. Alright. So we'll give up another Bruins player. He also has no trade. Jordan Harris. I can't increase it anymore. But at least we're kind of seeing how things work here. And how it's not necessarily too complicated to do things, but see, this is where it gets annoying, because obviously you're giving up something better. I doubt that was like the deciding factor. Okay, we'll kind of just bank on the fact that we're going to be good. Wrong one, obviously. So draft picks, let's we'll probably get picks later. There we go. So now we got another draft pick as well. So at least 2 of them should be in the middle, you think. Then if we can get rid of Zacha, let's see what we could get for him. Just out of curiosity, obviously we're not going to probably do it unless we get something good for him, but I kind of doubt that we will. 3rd round pick, you got to be kidding me. So he's obviously worth more than that. He's definitely worth more than that. So we'll end up playing a little bit here. We'll end up doing whatever trades we can do off camera, and then we'll jump to the end of the season and see where things lie, and then see who's going to be the eventual winner of the Stanley Cup this season. So let's jump to that. And just like that, the season's over, and we still remain at the bottom of our division. Let's just hope it's the bottom of the league. we are bottom 2. We managed to tie with Anaheim and obviously our goal differential. I would have thought that our goal differential would have changed that. So the fact that we end up finishing high ahead of them seems kind of odd. We did go on a 7-game losing streak to end the season, and we did make a couple trades at the end of the trade deadline, so I will show you some of them. We managed to get Voronkov. I did show you guys that one. So we got Voronkov and 2 first for Geeky and Spicer. Let's see how Geeky ended up doing. Geeky ended up getting 13 points in 20 games. He only graded around 59, so he did better on our team than he did on Columbus. But all in all, that ended up doing pretty well for us. And then we did get Ty Nelson for Zacha, Johansson, and Harrison, and a 6 and a 4. So we got Ty Nelson and a first-round pick. Ty Nelson actually did okay for us, 67 grade. He played around 14 games for us. Didn't look like he played really much for them, but he was on the trade block, so we did manage to get him. We did make a deal with Vancouver. I think you guys saw that one. We got a first and a second round for our first and third, and then Tuffley and Pedersen and Simpson ended up parting ways as well, but doesn't look like we're going to miss him too much. We did get rid of Sostrom, who's on the last year of his deal for a 6th round pick. What can you say to that, really? But that leaves us with all right wingers. We have a ton of right wingers here, but we do have 4 first-round picks, so it should be a pretty fun draft next episode. We do have 2 second-rounders and 2 thirds as well, so should be pretty fun. Should be pretty action-packed for the new version of how the draft ends up working. So hopefully we can kind of do wheel and deal there as well. It does look like Muse is now pretty close to being able to start for us. He has around 20, so he probably has 1 more year in NCAA that we'll probably then have to sign him. But we'll look at, so we have Columbus, Tampa, and Vancouver. Let's see how lucky we are and if we manage to guess the right thing. So obviously Leafs finishing at the top, no brainer for us. They end up getting the President's Trophy as well. But ultimately, we'll decide on where everyone else is. Vancouver looks like they're at the bottom half. Did they make the playoffs? So they just did not. 86 to 89. So we'll look at that. We end up getting lucky with that. Columbus, also one of them. Obviously ours, and Tampa. So Tampa's towards the bottom. That could be a good pick as well. So it does look like our team can really bounce back next season. But we'll simulate the playoffs, see who manages to win, and let's see if there's anything to write home about here. See if Toronto can actually finally win, despite never being able to win. They're already down 1-0 against Rangers there. Montreal leads as well. New York leads 2-0. Montreal up 2-0 as well. Edmonton up 2-0. And like I said, I did think that some of these teams could have won. So Pasternak comes back from injury. He did end up missing the last couple games, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for us, I guess. That did really help us. But yeah, I think he was out for maybe a month. Probably towards the last month, so that definitely helped with that losing skid there. New York leads 3-2. Edmonton wins 4-1. Minnesota 3-2 as well. We did try and wheel and deal with Minnesota, but they did not budge at all. Development report here. So Jordan Harris returns now. Okay, he was injured for the last couple games. Ty Nelson looks like he's improved. Poitras looks like he's going to be a decent player, even though he only got 25 points. Hoggins now 3-star player, so we could probably bring him up next year. William Moore's going to have to obviously sit there as well. Caleb Denoyer, now 1 to 2 months. Oh my god. That's going to suck. And then Roger McQueen will probably end up bringing up next season as well. I mean, looks like he should be good, at least for second line. So Denoyer is probably going to end up sitting, despite being injured all the time. And Buffalo now leads 3-2. Rangers lead 3-0, or 3-2. And let's see who's going to be the team that ends up making it out of the East here. Hall of Fame nominees, they always do this. Like I said, I wish they just did at the end of the season. I'm going to go Keith Tkachuk. Yeah, Keith Tkachuk. So, Edmonton wins that one 4-1. Golden Knights 3-2. Minnesota 3-2. And Nashville 3-2. They a lot better than what they're doing in real life. And same thing with Rangers. Rangers up 3-2. Buffalo up 3-2. Carolina ends up winning that one as well. It does look like Washington might end up winning. New York knocks out Fleece round 1. So it looks like the algorithm is right in this game. Buffalo ends up knocking out our rivals as well. So this is starting to be pretty great. I mean, that Toronto pick could have been alright as well. So we end up trading a decent amount just to end up getting rid of that pick. But, I mean, it still would have probably been close to middle-ish. Probably a difference between maybe 5 to 10 picks. So ultimately, we'll take that. Buffalo now ends up winning 4-1. Edmonton's up 4-1. And let's see what ends up happening here. Minnesota now wins as well. Buffalo up 1-0 against Hurricanes. And Minnesota leading so far, tied between both of them. Buffalo now leads 2-1. Minnesota leads 2-1. Buffalo up 3-1. 3-1 as well for Minnesota. So Oilers do not look like they're going to make it back to back to back. Still 3-2 for both series. Tied 3-3. This one's going to go 4-2 for sure. Dear God, that was like a long stretch there. So let's end up seeing who ends up winning this. So I think that Minnesota's going to end up winning the next game. Yep, they do. So Minnesota in the finals against Buffalo. Insane, actually. I would have never guessed that. But Buffalo does look like a stacked team. Tied 3-3. We do have some development here. Hagen's still improving in faceoffs. Yeah, okay, 14 in faceoffs, so that's pretty good. We could decide to leave him down, but obviously, if he's ready, might as well bring him up. Henry Muse. We'll probably obviously leave him one more year. So we'll get him at probably around 21, 22. Cole Chandler, still 1 star. Looking like he's improving as well. Agility. 4-3. So Carolina and Minnesota. So 2 expansion teams. Carolina has at least won recently. Well, within recent years. Now, obviously, I'm going to go with my favorite player out of all of them. Surprised to never see Rob Brigmore. I guess Sergei Gonchar, I did like him as well. And John Van Wiesberg, I did have his hockey card at one point, and I did love that card. Minnesota leads 1-0. I think it's going to be Minnesota. It's probably going to be the West. 1-1. 2-1 Minnesota. 2-2. And leaves us there. All right. So we'll bring in Vincent Danfus there. 3-2 Carolina. So is Carolina going to end up winning this one? Wow. I wish you could do not disturb that. And Vincent Danfus is obviously going to be the one I pick. And Carolina is our champion this season. Wow. They managed to beat Florida, the team that ended up winning before. So that does make sense. So they obviously stopped their three-peat there. They swept, actually, Washington Capitals 8-0 there. And then they hard fought against Sabres, ended up winning that one. And then they ended up clearing out Minnesota pretty easily, I would say. They won the last 3 games there and ultimately made it pretty easy. We'll look at a recap of this season now that the season's all done. So Pasternak graded around 80, played 63 games, 59 points. That's remarkable considering the team that we end up having in front of him. Musty now in second place with 35, but obviously because we traded away the rest of the players. And then Voronkov doing pretty well for us, but he didn't do well for Columbus. I do like seeing that, though. And then McAvoy now coming in there. Let's see if there's anything of note for our goalies. I mean, 896, not that bad. I mean, Lindbaum did end up playing 30 games. I think Swayman was hurt for a little bit as well. But 11 wins, 19 losses, and then 19 and 23. That's ultimately not that bad considering the team that was in front of him. So obviously we'll end up having to see how well they end up faring next season. I know it's still a rebuild, but we do have most of the picks for next season, and obviously if we can end up trading away some of these other players here, we'll go back to summary here, or actually, no, we want info. There we go. And then, yeah, if we can end up getting rid of Lindholm as well, I'm even okay with parting ways with Voronkov if we can get something decent for him. Lorley as well. I do like holding on to him, but obviously we'll part ways if we have to. He does look pretty good, though. I'm more inclined to keep him. Musty, looking all right, I guess, just not necessarily in terms of defensive, I would say. But obviously our team looks a little bit rough in terms of contracts. Obviously he's going to end up leaving, but we're going to have to sign a ton of players. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up really sucking to start off the season. Yeah, Lorley's still there, so we'll extend him probably. And then same thing with Ty Nelson as well. But we'll come back for the draft next episode. And hopefully it ends up being pretty fun. I did see that there were some changes in it, and I'm just waiting to see what those changes end up looking like. So ultimately, I would say this was a successful end of the season, and we got very lucky with a lot of these picks. So hopefully we end up getting at least one in the top three, or sorry, two in the top three, maybe. That would be fantastic. But obviously, we want one in the top three, and if we can do something with that, then it'll be pretty fantastic. But we'll come back next episode for the draft, and then we'll kind of start off the season and see if there's any players that we can manage to sign. But looks like Hagen and McQueen should be able to start for us next season. But hopefully you guys like that. Leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you for watching. Until next time.